Happy Wednesday! Welcome to the Scoop World Order. Another huge day for Buckeye Scoop. Some of the intel we've been gathering today is jaw dropping. We're going to get into that regarding the Michigan case. The hammer's coming. It's going to be ferocious, and I cannot wait for that and to give you guys some of the new details we got today. Again, the dam has broken open. People know who's got the goods and who's bringing the heat. It's us, and it's amazing the people that are reaching out to us to see what we know, different level at this point. So we appreciate you guys that have been supporting us. Also got a huge new commitment for Tyler Bone, who is on fire. Another great looking offensive tackle to add to the class. We'll break him down a little bit as well and talk about Pro Day, where Will Howard was a superstar today. I think he was 65 for 67. He had two dropped passes. Otherwise, he had a perfect 67 for 67 performance today. So we're going to break that down and what else happened at Pro Day today. So we're going to take that and also take your questions. If you guys enjoy our content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. Again, we are growing at a ferocious rate at this point, and we appreciate you guys supporting us. Again, as always, shout out where you guys are watching from, shout out who you guys are watching with. If you guys want to help us out in a huge way, a super easy way to do. Oh my God, I got a big source calling me right now. Sorry, I gotta put that on voicemail, but I cannot wait to make that call back after the show. If you guys enjoy our show, again, give us some love on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. We are growing our audio versions. Get on your iPhone and just type in Buckeye Scoop. You can help us out in a big way. I cannot wait to get for the show to be over so I can call the source back, because it's going to be something big. But I appreciate you guys as always. With that being said, going to bring in my good friend Nevadabuck. Nevada, epic day for the Scoop, and we are stacking them up. Yesterday was an epic day. People are reaching out to us that are at the top of the food chain at their respective spots. And another great day today for the Scoop. What is the latest on the Michigan saga and the hammer that is incoming?
Well, look, one of the hallmarks of the show, we've always talked about how we're fair. We try to be fair and balanced, and you give credit where it's due. And I really do want to start it off by giving a shout out to Premier Drum and to Brohio at 11 Warriors, who've been doing some really good work on this whole Michigan scandal. And they're really the first guys that are talking about this next, coming out formally and state talking about notice of allegation number 3 coming out from Michigan, which is a pretty significant development. We've talked about the different aspects of this case. How notice of allegation 1 was Cheeseburger Gate. Notice of allegation 2 was the Stallions advanced scouting, largest cheating scandal in the history of college football. Well, number 3 sounds like it's going to be related to Weiss and unauthorized computer access crimes and things of that nature. So, like I said, I do want to shout them out. But the interesting thing that we've been able to vet out, and we got this just before we came to air here on this. We obviously broke everything here on Buckeye Scoop first, as we do, but we're going right to air with this. Is apparently there was another Big Ten school that Weiss was hacking, and through our digging and sourcing and verifying, we were able to get that the school is Penn State. So Penn State has now become an official righteous brother, along with Michigan State and Ohio State, in the battle against against Voldemort up there in Ann Arbor. Apparently they were a victim of a data breach that they believe was related to Weiss. And we've talked about Weiss. We've talked about his ability to hack. Some people are calling this one of the largest data breaches in the history of the country. I mean, this was a large data breach. This was a large failure on the behalf of the security systems and everything that was going on. Obviously for years before he got to Michigan, but certainly for years while he was at Michigan, while he's in Schembechler Hall, hacking away on this stuff. A couple of interesting points. Along with the Penn State stuff is seismic. So just, I don't want to bury the lead. I don't want to get off that, but there's so much to unwrap here. It's just hard to keep it all straight. But first of all, Penn State's getting hacked. Secondly, throughout this whole thing, I'm sure you've all been part of this thing where you get these notifications from whomever. It says, just so you know, your data was potentially breached by Citibank or Bank of America or, whatever it was. Do you realize Michigan's never sent that out to anybody, letting them know that there was this gigantic data breach, and they've never let anybody know in their whole thing that this thing was going down, um, which which is crazy. I mean, that's crazy to think about, and I don't even know how that happens, how they get away without doing that. And then thirdly, I touched on this yesterday, but I really do want to go back on this. It appears by all measures that Michigan knew or had a strong intimation that Weiss was doing this long before, like in December, within a few days of the December 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and then they let him coach in the college football playoff like after that. So I mean, so this wasn't one of those ones where they might have known about it, but they didn't know who, and so they were investigating. And I I think they had approached it. They had a strong intimation that he was the hacker, and they let him continue to coach in the college football playoff after that, which is really just that just takes us to another dimension completely on top of everything else. But yeah, just bad news upon bad news upon bad news, and the story just keeps getting worse and worse and worse for Michigan, and it's not stopping anytime soon, and it's not going away, and this isn't the delusions of some message board people at Ohio State and at Michigan State. I mean, this is serious and it's bad, and as bad as I thought it was, it's even worse. So that's what I got for today, and a pretty crazy day.
I mean, you want to talk about a massive lawsuit? Again, I have a long and I've had a very nice career in the insurance industry. In cyber, it's always interesting. 10 years ago when I was learning about cyber coverage, people would ask like, well, how much should my limit be? And how much, what's my exposure, blah, blah, blah. Do some studies. Okay, this is what your exposure is. But, the key thing with one of those to avoid litigation is you have to notify somebody immediately. Like if you get breached by Target was a real famous one that was like maybe 10 years ago when Target got breached, or Citibank or Netflix or whoever gets breached, you get a notification immediately that tells you change your email password or change your login password or whatever. And that's a serious thing. So if Michigan didn't do that, I mean, that is a massive lawsuit for these people, because again, the easiest way to prevent someone from hacking your private information is change your password. If there's some spreadsheet that gets leaked or someone gets access to and they know it, as soon as you notify it, most people change their passwords. They'll switch it out. Hey, you've been part of a data breach. And some people don't, which is fine. But it really, to me, depends upon what someone could have access to if they have your password. If it's some sort of private photo database, probably want to change it. If it's your Netflix account or something or whatever, then might not care as much. So it's just that's shocking. I mean, the Penn State thing, it's not surprising. I mean, Michigan knows that, excuse me, they were hacking a lot of teams. So the Penn State thing, the two juggernauts of the Big Ten that that Michigan has to overcome is Ohio State, Penn State. Period. Those are the teams that have equal talent, really, really good players. So they're going to work hard to get an advantage in those games. I mean, they play, a lot of the Purdue and Indiana, like they can just kind of roll the helmets out and beat them in general. Now, obviously last year Indiana had a different year and they beat Michigan, but yeah, not surprised at all. Again, the information is flowing now because we've become the source for this. And also kudos to Bro Ohio and some of the guys on 11 Warriors also, as well. As they said, we're doing the Lord's work together, which again, I really thought that was cool. But it's been a fun ride, man. And you wouldn't believe who's calling us to figure out what we know and what the punishments are going to be. And it's some people that would shock you guys, but it's really cool to be number one in the Ohio State sphere and being the ones that are the forerunners of breaking information, which is what we are. That's why you guys tune in for us. So Nevada, Any other thoughts on the Michigan topic, and we can move into some of the stuff that happened today for Ohio State?
Yeah, I mean, like I mean, I don't want to be the old guy that repeats himself, but I mean, if Michigan confronted Weiss about a computer unauthorized computer break-in, and then let him to go on and let him coach in the game. I mean, isn't that crazy? I mean, it doesn't
So
that seem like a bad?
that's insanity.
Yeah, I mean,
That's one of those ones where you suspend him just out of a precaution, even if he's 100% innocent. You have to suspend him. You have to. Again, this is a lot like when you talk about like a domestic violence case where somebody might get cuffed just because of the allegation, even if there's not great proof of it, just because you don't want to be, the police force that ignores something like that, and then all of a sudden something tragic happens. That's what this is. Like if you find that one of your assistants who's making a huge salary is doing this nefarious activity, like you have to suspend him. You can't let him coach. You can't worry about the public, the PR. Because again, this is something where if all of a sudden, because again, we've said this a million times, this is not an analyst. This is not an intern. This is not a GA. This is the offensive coordinator doing this. And they let him keep coaching. Which again, I don't ever want to hear about Michigan Man again. I don't ever want to hear about champions of the West. I don't ever hear about integrity. Like, I mean, literally the worst scumbag human beings in the world are Michigan people. And people support this. People root for this. Dave Portnoy rooting for Connor Stallions and supporting all this. I'm like, this is horrific. And this is happening. These weren't guys that were, they graduated from Michigan and they've been in the NFL, retired, old guys. This is happening as the season is progressing, and they let him coach. Because again, I know what Ohio State would do, because Ohio State is exponentially judicious. Again, you saw what happened with Zach Smith, who was never convicted of anything, got fired. PR work. Urban Meyer suspended. Again, and I think that might have been a little bit overkill, but there's got to be like a happy medium between not doing anything and throwing the baby out with the bathwater, which is what Ohio State did with Urban and Zach Smith. So I don't know. I think it's crazy that they knew that and they let him coach, and because again, they want to keep things status quo, keep it rolling like normal. No question marks. No. Where's the? Because again, like they roll up to the to a game and the offensive coordinator is missing. Like the sirens are going off, 5-alarm fire, what it is. So I don't know, but it keeps getting worse for Michigan, and it's unbelievable. Nevada, any other thoughts?
yeah, no, I mean, I want to make sure I've got the timeline right in terms of the dates, and the years, but I think it was this was in the run up right before the TCU game. I think before the college football. So it's so on brand for Michigan, who again, our belief based on what we know is that Michigan basically sold their soul in an attempt to win a national championship. That they were like, win at all costs. We'll do anything. We don't care. We'll cheat. We'll lie. We'll steal. We'll do whatever it is. So how on brand is this? That hey, your quarterback coach and co-offensive coordinator is suspected in a computer hacking thing. Hey, let's let him keep coaching because we don't know if it's true, and we'll push this off to late January, February, or whatever it is. Then I mean, that's completely on brand for Michigan. So it's not a stretch to believe that it happened that way. I mean, if you'd have told me this 3 years ago that could happen, I'd be like, no way. That no school's going to not in the modern era. They're not going to expose themselves to that type of liability. They're not going to put themselves in that kind of a precarious position. But now the deeper I dig in this thing with Michigan, now that I know everything that's gone on up in Michigan, up with their athletic department in general and their football program in particular, I have no trouble believing it. I have absolutely no trouble believing that they would do that. And I'm pretty much, I think they pretty much have this. So like if you're a Michigan going, oh no, this didn't happen. I really believe that they have this. This is going to come out. So remember when we said this, it's going to come out that they knew about this. They knew about it. They'd approached him about it, and Michigan didn't do anything. So like I said, I don't have any words, because just when I think that the Michigan scandal is as bad as it could get, it keeps getting worse. And I don't want to be the guy that sensationalizes everything. When we talked about like gambling cookies, that's daily fantasy. Do I think that's the worst thing in the world? I don't. Um, is it against the rules? Yes, it is. Is it a violation of NCAA? Can you do that? No, you can't. Is that a problem? Yeah, that's a problem. Um, but this stuff, I mean, this is beyond a problem. I mean, this is I hate even to bring up stuff like death penalty, but this is the definition of lack of institutional control. They've got to get the strictest possible penalties. And I wrote a tweet today. I said, "This is Michigan the most scandal-ridden program in the history of college sport." I really believe they are. I mean, I don't think that there's even anything that's even close. And and I don't think people really realize that it's about to get really worse for Michigan. And yeah, so crazy day. Every day seems like another door opens when it comes to the Michigan thing. And I mean, hacking Penn State on top of hacking Ohio State. I mean, that was not on my bingo card as of a bit ago, but now it is. So there you have it.
Yeah, I agree. It was what a big day. So Nevada, we've got Pro Day happened today. Will Howard was a supernova, was 65 for 67 throwing the ball. There were 2 dropped passes, so he was almost a perfect 67 for 67, which is people had doubts about Will Howard when he was at the combine. And the thing about the combine is you're throwing to literally every single guy you've never thrown to in your life, and you don't know how fast guys are, how well they can run a route. Again, when you watch great quarterbacks like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and those guys, they work just absolute insane hours in the off season and even like pre-practice, after practice, working on timing with guys that they've played with for 10 years. Like Marvin Harrison and Peyton are going to say after practice and throw routes over and over and over again to make sure that the timing's right. And so Peyton and Brady and the guys that are great, they stay after and work that. So like in a combine setting where you're throwing to a bunch of guys that you don't even know, you don't know how fast they are, you don't know how they're on their routes. Like there's an easy capability to not have a great day. But today with Will, I mean, he had his guys, he had Mecca, he had Brandon Innes, he had Carnell Tate. A lot of guys out there running around. A lot of these juniors stepped up and ran, which I thought was great because these kids, they want to help their teammates out. The reason why a lot of these young guys work out, like Kenyatta Jackson and Caden Curry worked out with JT and Jack Sawyer, is so that they can get some rest. So it's not just a machine gun of 2 guys throwing the drills back to back to back. Because again, these guys fatigue. I mean, they're great athletes, but I mean, it helps if you've got 4 guys running the drills. So, and it also helps the underclassmen mentally get ready for their pro day next year. So again, I think it's a great system that Ryan Day does. Ryan Day runs the best pro day that I've ever seen at the college level. I think that one of the things that he does that is excellent is he has his current position coaches run the drills. Even a guy like Tyler Bowen, who's never coached Donnie Jackson, he's never coached Josh Fryer, not Isaiah Simmons. Josh Simmons did not work today. He benched. He did not do position work because he's still recovering from his patellar. And Seth McLaughlin did not do position work. But it's good that you put those position coaches out there because not only do they get to audition in front of NFL coaches and kind of work through that pressure of the NFL world watching, but those guys can really go through the workout, rehearse it. In the days leading up to it, they can go through the workout multiple times. So by the time they do it at pro day, it's so different than like having a couple dress rehearsals and then having the actual real show, which I think is fantastic. I mean, how a lot of pro days are run is that the whoever wants to run the drills, it could be a scout or a line coach from the NFL. They run it, and you really don't know what drills are going to put you through. Like when I when I went through pro day, Justin Shabbat from the 49ers, who's a great, one of their top scouts, he ran the drills for me. I had no idea what he was going to do. I mean, a lot of it was pretty basic stuff that we'd seen and done before, but it wasn't the same as running through it a bunch of times, which is what Ryan has these guys do. So that, again, you want to look as good as you can in front of the NFL folks. I mean, there were, I think, 5 or 6 GMs, multiple head coaches, I think 40 NFL types were in the building. NFL Network, ESPN, they're all Pete Thamel, all in the building. I think that he does a really good job with that, and I think that the way that he includes the underclassmen is huge. Because again, when they run through a pro day as a junior, they might be able to get some of those butterflies out for when they do it as a senior. So I think it worked out really great. Nevada, outside of Tyleek blew a tire, and I think he said he cramped. I don't think he pulled a hamstring, but I think he cramped and he fell down on his 40. Who are some guys that you were excited about hearing their testing today?
Well, Mecca apparently ran well, and but on all this stuff, it's like the Will Howard 67 for 67 or whatever it is. It's like, man, just put in the tape, just go watch him play football. You've talked a lot about Wilson. What first name the Jets quarterback? Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Like his great pro day and legendary pro day, and that guy absolutely sucked. Like couldn't play the game at all. I mean, whether he went 67 for 67 or 37 for 67, I think he's terrific because when the lights are shining brightest, the games are the biggest. He balls out. I mean, he played his best football in that run against 4 top 10 teams in a row, and when the season was on the line, they put it in his hands, and he dropped a dime right in there to J.J. Smith. So I think he's going to be great. Do I think he'll be great from day one? No. I think he'd do well to go to a place where they spend some time, develop him. I mean, I'd love it if the Steelers, and I hate the Steelers beyond everything as a Browns fan. So, but I love Aaron Rodgers. I'd love it if Aaron Rodgers went to the Steelers and Will Howard got a chance to, kind of work under him and let him bring him along and mentor him for a year or two. I think that would be unbelievable for Will. And, Will seems like a Pittsburgh Steelers type of quarterback. So, hey, but I'm a fan. I mean, the guy's a legend. Wherever he lines up, it'll be great. But no, Emeka was great. We saw Josh Simmons do the bench press. I know that you were very impressed with his form on the bench press there. And did I sense a little bit of envy in you about his bench pressing there, Kirk, or were you? Were you questioning whether those were legitimate reps or not, or are you okay? Are you throwing the flag in any of those, or were those okay?
I'm not. I love Josh Simmons. I think he's the best tackle in the draft by far. I didn't think it's close. I'm not going to be a hater because I've never been a hater in my life. You know that, Mr. Positivity. Some of the reps might not have been fully locked out, but hey, the one thing that I learned today, and I mean this, is like nobody should bench at the combine. Everybody should bench at pro day, man. It was just like, because again, I lost, I think 2 or 3 reps at the combine, maybe. Because if you short arm them, if you don't lock them out, then they don't count them. And they're super strict about that. But Josh, I mean, he got 33 up, and that's spectacular. That's a huge number. And honestly, bench is one of the most worthless things. Here, I'm going to put Stacey Dales as a video up so that the whole world can watch it. And again, I don't care. This isn't the Arnold Classic. This isn't a powerlifting meet. This is just, whatever. So here's Josh going again. This is Stacey Dales' video of Josh Simmons bench pressing today, and again, I think Josh, for one, I don't care what he bench presses. So again, there's some of these reps are good, but I mean, at the combine, I mean they are real strict about the lockouts. But again, here's the thing, I don't care if he benches 20 reps of 225. I'm fine with it. 'Cause all I care about is his feet and his explosion, and his attitude, and frankly, his intelligence. Like the more I watched the film, I was like, this is a really, really razor sharp tackle. Like he really plays a lot of games with defensive ends. He does it. He's not just a generic guy that just sets back and whatever. He really knows the game. And I think this guy has Pro Bowl potential all day, every day. And I just don't care about the bench press. I just don't. I mean, like Paris Johnson went top 6 last, and I don't think he benched at all. I don't think he ever benched. I don't think he ever ran a 40. I don't think he ever did anything. So, again, the bench press is the most worthless aspect of the combine for a no lineman, because once you get above like 25, like nobody really cares. Like Nick Mangold did 23 reps at 225, and he's a fringe Hall of Fame center and one of the strongest players in Ohio State history and NFL history, because he was a 600-pound squatter, 650, 675 squatter. So it's like, I don't know who decided that the bench press would be the metric that everyone would be judged by, but I think it's just silly. But no, Will Howard was on fire today, and he had a great day. I think
now, how do you feel about our bet? We have a bet, $2,000 with Yoder, that 12 the over under 12. That if it's under 12, we lose. 12 we push, and over 12 we win. That is the bet, correct?
Yeah.
How are you feeling about our bet as of tonight?
I wish I could add like 2 or 3 more zeros to the bet. I mean, I would. That's like one of those ones where like DraftKings would block my action, because I'd try to bet I would go out and take loans out from every bank I could find to bet that we're gonna have more than that in this draft. We had 15 combine invites. Basically, it comes down to like Cody Simon not getting drafted or Lathan Ransom not getting drafted, and I'm like, I mean, and I saw, and again, these are a lot of unofficial times, that Lathan was high 4.3s in the 40. Cody looked fantastic. I mean, Cody physically looks the part, but he's explosive, he's fast, and mentally he's just a monster. He's just a really sharp kid, leader, captain of the best Ohio State team in history. I mean, leader of the defense. I mean, he's the guy that criminally underrated last year from a national awards perspective, from an All-American perspective. Should have been consensus All Big Ten, but so those are the guys that we have to bet on not getting drafted. Like, I mean, unless they have some insane failure on their physical, I just don't know how they don't get drafted. I mean, those are the 2 guys that it really comes down to, because all the other guys are locks, like lead pipe. Like, we went through the whole list of, Mecca and Will Howard and Josh Simmons and Trey Henderson, Quinshon Judkins. Like, I mean, you can go up Donnie Jackson. Those guys will be gone in the first 60 picks for the most part, and then you get into the defense, and all 4 D linemen are going to get drafted. Cody Simon, I've been shocked. Again, Mike Brewster was a senior All-American offensive center who didn't get drafted. Andrew Norwell, who was the highest paid guard in NFL history, didn't get drafted. He was all Big Ten. So I know that the personnel types in the NFL are stupid. And sometimes they overanalyze, and they get into these analytics, and they can't just figure out that this guy's a really good player, and that if he's not great running around cones and running an L drill and 5-10-5 shuttle, it doesn't really matter, because he's a baller on the field. But yeah, you look at Denzel, you look at Lathan, Jordan Hancock. I just and then the ancillaries are like G Scott, and then you've got Josh Fryer, who I think are likely to get undrafted. But I mean, those are guys that we don't really need to get drafted. If one of those guys gets drafted, then this is gravy at this point. But I don't know. Like, I think Josh Fryer will be a priority free agent, just because of his versatility of playing guard and tackle. He's a very valuable guy. And he's a starter at right tackle on the national champions. Like, how does he not get, he'll get a contract for sure. Nevada, we also had a commitment today. Tucker Smith committed from Sandra Day O'Connor in wonderful Glendale, Arizona. Another big tackle, 6'5", 280, big dog. Another feather in the cap of Tyler Bone, who's on fire. What are your thoughts?
I mean, 3 massive tackles in the first few weeks of his, whatever you want to call it, his tenure here at Ohio State. Yeah, I mean, they like this kid a lot. I know he's, I think he's 3-star or 4-star or whatever. I don't really care, but I mean, you watch the kid. I mean, he's a mauler. He's a big physical kid. The people in Arizona love this guy, and Tyler Bowen's excited about it. He's bringing in these tackle types, believes those guys can kind of play all over the line, contrary to the belief that tackles play tackles and never go inside and whatever. He's kind of loading up on tackles. And hey, I mean, he's getting it done. So God bless him. He casted a really wide net. They're going after a bunch of guys, and some of them are going to be top guys, some are going to be development guys, and you need development guys on the line because those are the guys that'll stick with you, hang in there for their second, third, fourth year, and develop and be there. Not everybody wants to be, one and done, or three and done rather, and move on if they're not playing the first time. Those development guys will, they'll have a little bit more patience, and I think Bone's did a really good job of bringing a nice mix and. I'm loving the class so far.
Yeah, and again, like, if you want to like read the tea leaves sometimes, like when recruiting sites who have guys that frankly aren't very talented doing the evaluations, because if they were talented, they'd be working as general managers or they'd be working for an NFL team or for a college team, whatever. Like when they rank a kid a 3-star, but Ohio State takes an early commitment from him in, I don't know, March, is he really a 3-star? If they've offered him, it's a committable offer. Like to me, that's a 4-star all day, every day. And for like, that's why I call Sam Greer a 5-star. It's like I watched the same. I was like, he's a 5-star, easy, and he'll get a bump because he's committed to Ohio State, so they'll bump him up. But like, I just watched the same, and I was like, I think this kid's a 5-star. I've seen enough kids that are quote 5 stars that aren't as good as Sam Greer, and this kid I think is a 4-star. So. If Ohio State's taking your offer at this point in the year, in this part of the recruiting cycle, you're automatically a 4-star. I mean, it's not even the end of spring ball, and we're taking this kid's commitment. So I'm excited about him because, again, at the end of the day, Tyler Bowen's evaluation and Mark Pantoni's evaluation, and the other folks inside the building, their evaluation at Ohio State is worth a billion times more than anybody from On3 or Rivals or I was gonna say Scout's gone now, 247, because like these guys have to sign their names to these kids. These if you take too many bad kids in these classes, you're gonna get fired and your family's gonna have to move and you're gonna have to go work somewhere else. So Tyler Bowen signed his name to this kid, and that not for me. Again, I lived that life, and it's like if you're betting your family's livelihood upon this kid, especially when you take him this early. So excited about this kid. I think he's got big upside. We'll break his film down tomorrow. He committed real late, but I'm just super excited. I think he's got big time upside. But yeah, Nevada, we got a ton of super chats pouring in here. Any other thoughts before we dig into these?
No, I mean Bowen doing work, man. I know he's kind of the golden child right now, but he's aggressive with the offers, and that's what people wanted. That's what I wanted. So it's great to see, and it's great to see us getting like you said, taking a kid from Arizona who's a 3-star. There's no way that he's a 3-star in Ohio State's book. That's a 4-star all day long. They're not taking projects from out of state and reaching. So no chance.
Not this early in I mean, maybe in December, but like not this early.
No.
I mean, you've got the whole field to go, and now we've got 3 guys committed in this class. So it's crazy that 3 guys on the offensive line committed. So. Great job by Tyler Bowen. All right, let's get into some super chats. Appreciate you guys. Roy McLeod, thank you for the 5. Thank you for being an Ultra member as well. Great show as usual. Kirk and Nevada. Michigan gets a bowl ban and or Sharon Moore gets suspended/fired. Are the players allowed to immediately leave? I believe when the coach leaves and the portal window opens immediately. I believe. Now, again, you don't kill me if I'm wrong on that, but I always feel like when a coach takes off and goes elsewhere, immediately that roster is under siege and opened up. Nevada, your thoughts on that? I believe that's the rule.
I know if he leaves, that's what it is. I don't know if he's suspended. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the NCAA probation, about where that clicks. And obviously there's 2 portal windows when they can operate. If the timing's right on what we're hearing, this next NOA or NOI or whatever you want to call it for Michigan, investigation 3 is supposed to drop in the next month before the next portal window opens. So, will that facilitate some movement on Michigan? I don't know. They've done a pretty good job up to this point of, selling people that, the NCAA doesn't have, jurisdiction. The NCAA doesn't have any teeth, and I think people are making a real big mistake because they're seeing these court cases that the NCAA was losing on name, image, and likeness cases, and they're conflating that to believe that they don't have any teeth when it comes to enforcement issues, and those are two very different things. And I think that's the mistake that Michigan fans are making, and certainly probably some of the Michigan players are making in terms of underestimating the NCAA because the NCAA still has some fangs for sure.
Maurice Clarinet, thank you for the 10. Appreciate you, my friend. When do we think Scum receives the third notice of the third NOI, excuse me? They've racked up vacated wins from 21 to 23, unrecognized natty, and 3 years postseason ban just for Stallions. What punishment do you expect for Weiss? Nevada, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, when do I think it'll happen? And again, I want to credit Premier Drum and 11 Warriors on the reporting. I think the timings that they're hearing and is in the next month or so, so like pretty soon. And you ask yourself, well, why would that be? And you got to remember the Weiss stuff. Everything that was on Weiss's computer was mirrored by the computer forensics firm when this stuff kind of came out. Okay. And they had it, but they couldn't do anything with it because there was a federal investigation going on. And we put out there the great Michigan insider Josh Hinchke or whatever the guy's name was had come out and said, "I can assure you this Weiss thing has nothing to do with federal. There's no federal." It's like, no, it's the definition of federal there, Josh. So another spectacular miss by a Michigan insider. Go figure. But everything on Weiss's stuff had to be frozen because there was a criminal investigation going on. Now that they've issued the indictments, now it's kind of opened up everything, for the NCAA, for the Big Ten to move forward on this. But they were frozen on that until it's kind of handed down. So I think it seems like there was nothing happening, and all of a sudden there's a lot of flurry of activity. Well, it's all been precipitated by the fact that they finally filed the charges against Weiss, and so now the NCAA and the Big Ten can move forward.
Yeah, I agree. Maurice Clarinet, thanks for the 5. Can OSU football say publicly we were hacked? Why not call up national reporters? No need to be silent now. Buckeye Scoop Nation should beat them. Will be with this. I mean, I think they're evaluating legal options at this point. I mean, I feel pretty strong about that because, again, this is a serious deal right here. Does it help to get the media going? I don't know. We've been the forerunners of this entire thing this entire time. So I don't know. I mean, I think that what Ohio State will do is whatever their counsel tells them to do. And Ohio State has very good counsel. They're not like some people that have terrible attorneys that give them terrible advice that end up getting them massacred when they go against people that are way better and way smarter than them. So Ohio State's not that. That's some people, but it's not Ohio State, and it's not Nevada and I. Nevada, your thoughts. Can Ohio State say publicly we were hacked? Why not call up national reporters? No need to be silent now. Buckeye Scoop Nation should Pete Thamel run with this. What are your thoughts?
Well, look, there's an old thing in I believe it was Sun Tzu in The Art of War about when your enemy is defeating themselves, you just allow them to do so. And I think that's what Ohio State should do and is doing, which because anything that Ohio State says or does at this point just seems like sour grapes. And I don't think it helps their cause. I think Michigan this is a slow motion car crash going on right in front of us right now. They are circling the drain. And if I were Ohio State, I would say nothing. I would do nothing. I wouldn't have Ryan Day make a statement. I would not have Ohio State make a statement. I would just let this play out because I think once you get involved, then it looks like you're kind of precipitating the action as opposed to you're just a victim, you're just a spectator, you're just allowing it to. So I personally, if I were Ohio State, I would not make a statement because Michigan's going down. And they don't really need to have their fingerprints on the knife when it happens.
Well, I think that you're right. Like, it's just like with the Matt Weiss stuff. I mean, he got fired in early 23, and everything just came down the last 3 days. So accumulate the evidence, accumulate all of the ammunition you need, and then when it drops, it's go time. So there's no reason to, I guess, talk about it until everything goes through. Look nice, I think, for the 5. We're in week 2 of spring ball. Who outside of Devin Sanchez will be the first loser? Black stripe. Nevada OH. You know, be a little different here. And this will be, because part of me, I feel like the black stripe is obviously you always think freshman, but I'm going to say Logan George. Yeah, I was going to go CJ Donaldson Jr., but like the guys that have played like real football at a real level and they've got real tape, not high school kids, they tend to take their stripes off because it's kind of ridiculous when you have a guy who's like an all conference level player and then he's at Ohio State. He's got the same black stripe that some 3-star freshman early enrollee has on. So, I think like a Logan George could be kind of a bolt of lightning out of the sky of someone's like, oh, he's doing really well because he has been. He's physical, he's tough, and he has a huge opportunity to make some hay because he's going against some new tackles with Ethan Onyanwa and Phillip Daniels, and again those guys are learning the offense and learning the scheme, and sometimes that leads to missed assignments, and that leads to splash plays and havoc plays for a defensive end. So I'm going to say Logan George. I wanted to say CJ Donaldson Jr., but with running backs, when you can't really tackle them and you can't really, like if it was live and you could hit the running backs and the running backs could drop the shoulder and run somebody over, then maybe, yeah. But I think, a defensive end versus a second team tackles could make some hay. So I'm going to say Logan George. Nevada, who do you think will be the first loser black stripe?
I'm going to go on the transfers. I'm going to go with Ethan. Just because they need him to be good quickly and they need to give him a little boost. So I'm going to go with Ethan. On the freshman, I'm going to go with Riley Pettijohn. I'm going to go with Riley. I think Riley's a future superstar at Ohio State. And even though, like I said, because we took Devin Sanchez off the board and you grabbed Logan George, which is good. Even though I can't believe you're disrespecting CJ Donaldson after witnessing the burst. And we have to have a name for that. It's going to be like the Scoop and Sawyer and the Holy Buckeye and the bird. We all got to remember where we were the first time we saw CJ Donaldson kind of run through that line, and man, that was special. Thank you so much for sharing that.
What about like CJ2K, CJ2K, CJ2 Kirk, CJ2K?
You're like, Nevada. Have you seen this run? Let me send you the tape of it. It's unbelievable. Wow. Yeah.
I mean, I got to get John Facenda, like I got to get like an AI John Facenda, get the Raiders theme song or get one of the exactly. Get one of the classic NFL film songs going in the background, and John Facenda saying CJ Donaldson in team takeoff versus air takes the carry up the middle for 25 yards before he jogs back to the huddle so that the first team can go. Like, I see it.
The frozen tundra of the Woody Hayes Athletic Center.
The frozen 65-degree tundra of the indoor field of the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. Because heaven forbid,
Oh, man. The run.
All right.
CJ.
This is interesting. Brees Clarinet next to the 5. PD reporting, per his sources, the death penalty is the likely possibility for the white stuff. Nevada PD, does that ring a bell?
Premier drum.
I mean, that would be. I
don't believe. I don't believe he said. I'm not calling you a liar or anything. I don't believe. Now, if he did say that would be news. I don't believe that the death penalty will ever be used again. But I do believe Michigan's going to get nuked back to the Stone Age. I just don't believe it'll be the death penalty. But I do believe. I've always believed, and I believe now on this day, at this moment, stronger than I ever have, that Michigan is going to get the hammer sideways, and it's going to be bad. But I don't think they're going to get death penalty. But I respect PD. So if you really did say that, that's quite a mouthful. But I'd have to check for context on that one.
Yeah, I would too. Didn't see it. If he said that, great. I mean, if it happens, great. If it doesn't, also great. We'll be okay. All right, Nevada, we can wrap this thing up. Another great show. I know that you've got a hard stop, so we can get out of here. Any final thoughts?
No, I mean, quite an amazing day. I mean, lots to unwind on. This Michigan thing just keeps getting bigger and bigger. We'll be digging away to get stuff, but remember the stuff we're telling you about. And remember, the Penn State thing, very significant. The timing on the when did they find out about Weiss doing this and when did they actually fire him? That's also another thing that you got to really keep an eye on because that's a humongous scandal if that's true, and I think it is. So keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fantastic ride for us. I'm excited about it. All right, with that being said, as always, if you guys enjoy our content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. And I appreciate you guys that are riding with us each and every night. Huge show again tonight. So thank you. Thank you for all of the follows and adding everything. This show has been growing like crazy. Thanks to you guys. And I just appreciate that so much. So make sure you guys shout out where you guys are watching from. Shout out who you guys are watching with. Again, love you guys to death. And again, we are Team Steely around here. Steely, we got your back, dog. Don't let idiots get you down. So I appreciate you, brother. But as always, if you guys want to help us out, give us a follow on Apple Podcasts. Again, that is a huge thing we've been growing, along with Spotify, completely free and easy to do. We have certain goals we're trying to get to by Easter. A lot of you guys are helping us out in terms of our growth. So thank you for that. With that being said, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. See you guys at 7:10. Go Bucks.